Welcome to The Anchored Voice. This is a podcast helping men to anchor life. I'm your host, Dr. Phil 2. Welcome to the program. This episode of The Anchored Voice is sponsored by mental health counselor Gary Graham. He is providing virtual counseling services through this pandemic. All virtual sessions are confidential. Subjects include grief counseling, addiction counseling, parent counseling, anger management, and a men's group. Contact Gary Graham at 347-252-9701. You can also check him out on Boss Moves or Soft Moves by Gary Graham on Facebook. Gary Graham, a mental health counselor. All right, we are with the Anchor Voice, and I'm bringing on our guest here, Brother Gary and Mark Fisher. What's up, everybody?
Hello. Hey, everybody.
All right. Welcome. And this is our leadership from Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island. All right. I like that. I like the sign. I like the sign. Here we go. That's right. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing in Rhode Island. What's going on? Introduce our guest here, and let's get into the conversation.
Well, I am Mark Fisher, the Senior Director at Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island. You're very familiar with Brother Gary Dantzler, the President. And we are out here trying to stir it up. We're changing the culture, we're changing the narrative, we're changing the whole story in the Black community's mind. Not the narrative that they have been indoctrinated with for over 200 years, but the truth. The truth that when they say that you're less than, the truth is that you're obviously more than. When they say that you can't, we say, yes, you certainly can. And that needs to be perpetuated and saturated throughout the airwaves, so there's no mistake, no uncertain terms that their opinion of us does not have to become our reality.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's right. And we were just talking about the narrative. People controlling the narrative, what's going on. Gary, speak to us. Brother Gary, speak to us.
What's happening, brother? It's always a pleasure to see you, Doc.
Yes, sir.
I'm really thankful to be here again. So we always talk about the narrative, and as the whole world again has watched another senseless killing, these things affect us where, 9 times out of 10, something's not right? Something's not right with the law system, the judicial system, all the way down from modern society to all the judges, all the work that we do. That America is playing a huge role in hiring, white supremacists. And the reason why I talk about white supremacists is because certain issues that we don't collaborate, we don't talk about, like the hidden agenda. This is the hidden agenda that some of these people they are hiring from the institution of law. The law is breaking, and something's happening where they're constantly getting through the cracks of law enforcement. So now you have these cells, and they're no different from the Taliban. So they're using the justifications to really destroy and murder young Black and brown people in America.
Yeah. So,
it changes me as a man, as a human being, as a father, as a community activist. Why won't we go after these people? Why won't we have, we have this lawless place that we live in, Rhode Island, and this guy is telling the world he can't breathe. And, there goes another black man down the drain. They kill him in broad, right on I'm still shocked. I really can't fathom what happened to me on that videotape.
I mean, there's not one officer that can say, "Hey, man, yo, back off his neck a little bit. We got this."
Right.
I mean, there's always a way to not offend the maybe your senior officer, but there's a way. Hey, man, I got this. Let me talk to him. You always try to find a way to diffuse the situation.
Right. And then
but four of them can't do it.
Right, because now you have a system that's a brotherhood, right? That's they supposed to take an oath amongst each other. So imagine, as you've seen those cops covering up, trying to cover the camera while they're murdering this guy on camera. They're actually committing murder. And these people supposed to serve and protect us. I'm outraged. So we have something this Saturday, in Providence, downtown Providence. And, we have to start somewhere, right? Yeah. We need to get involved with the, Black Lives Matter Rhode Island and really start to pinpoint why is white America at the necks of Black American men. It has to stop. It has to stop.
How do we, somebody asked me today, like, how do we stop this? Like, how do we address it so well that it actually does stop? What do we need to do?
It's very simple. It's a simple question and it's a simple answer with profound ramifications. You see, it is police reform. Very simple. 2 simple words, right? But it means a lot of things. You see, in America today, I'm not talking about social justice. I'm not talking about criminal justice. I'm not talking about housing. I'm not talking about equity. All of those things are important. But if we are not living, those things mean nothing. Mm-hmm. So the platform, the only thing I'm willing to talk about, the only thing I'm willing to discuss, the only discussion to be had is police reformation. If we're not talking about police reformation, there's no discussion. That goes for black, white, yellow, green, blue, orange. Police reform, coast to coast, everywhere, every platform, loud and clear. Police reform, very simple.
Do we need a cloud of black men to apply to be police officers? Do we need like a whole crew just to apply and to get into police academy? How do you feel police reform should be?
I think that one of the things is that we should be focusing on is a black agenda. There's no black agenda in Rhode Island. There's no black hub. There's no black foundation for education. There's no black unity club. You have REBA, one of the best associations in the state of Rhode Island. The Small Black Business Association. Like, these are the things that we need. Shout out to Lisa Rangley. I want to say she's my hero. Without sisters like that and people like that, Pastor Jeffrey Williams is another one. These guys are like the guardians of our peoples, right? Yeah. And what happens, what we see in Rhode Island is like, it's so unfortunate as far as the black leadership. And I don't know what it is. Like, there's a huge cloud of brothers and sisters working together, but at least we can step up and formulate something together as a unit and teach them about real unity. Like, Reba should have been one of at the top of the charts in understanding that here's this lady been teaching financial literacy for a long time. And this is why we have these problems in the black community. There's no money coming in and out of our communities. And no one's talking about. So of course you have these police officers around this country. There's a parade on black people. Like Like, this is a parade. And this is unfortunate. We talk about the black dynamic structure of Rhode Island, New England, Boston, Minneapolis, et cetera, et cetera. The killings are going to continue until we fight to understand white America's agenda.
So what should be, and I had a few ideas of what the black agenda should be. But what do you think the black agenda should be? What are we bringing to the table that we want to voice loud and clear to our community, to our leaders, to our police department, our fire department? What is the agenda that we want to say loud and clear?
Break up the deep police state.
Right. I mean, that's partial of
Deregulate.
it. Right. That's partial of it. And my biggest concern is, how do we invest into our community? Right. There's no Black Democratic Party. There's no hub for Black Voters Matter. There's no hub for, business associations and nothing. So, it goes back to the community, right? Because look what happened. This guy left his city, to have work. He traveled out of state and just to make ends meet for his family, and he gets murdered. So, the black agenda has a lot to do with the economic global effect around the world, right? Because poverty, when policing look at black people, the first thing they do is think about is, look at this guy. He looks like he doesn't have a job. He doesn't work. No one cares about him. He's a black male. These are the statistics that white America see us as. So unfortunately, they don't see great leadership in Rhode Island. There's none.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, they don't want to, my brothers and sisters, a lot of them don't want to talk what I'm talking about. They're muffled. Okay. They muzzle them out and they're not effective. They're not effective. Yeah. So, the ones that I named, the Lisa Rangleys, like, those are my heroes. They step up to the plate and talk about the black agenda, the black economic. Like, these are the things that we need to be talking about.
Yeah. I mean, if black community understood the value they have financially, it would be a different situation. If we understood who we are, and I told the young man, I said, listen, I know you're working in the grocery store right now, right, but that grocery store is education for you, because when you're working at the cash register, you're learning how to interact with people. You're learning customer service. You're learning what they want. You're learning how to move your line faster than anybody else. You're learning to become the best cashier in the place. So when people walk in, they be like, I want to go in that guy's line right there. He's moving everybody forward. I said, you are learning. If you're working in the back and you're stocking, all kind of stuff, you are learning inventory. So learn inventory. So at the end of the day, you can start creating your own grocery store. You can own your own, and you'll know exactly what you need to do. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what job you're working right now. It doesn't matter where you are. Make the difference. Be the best at who you are, at what you are. If you're an essential worker, be the best essential worker that you are right now. Be the best where you are. Don't discount the fact that you're working at Checkers, the fact that you're working at McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A. Don't discount that. All of that is experience. And if we learn to be the best where we are, doesn't matter what state you're in. You could be Rhode Island, you could be Brooklyn, New York, you could be anywhere, you could be Maryland. You be the best at where you are, and people will start taking notice. And I think that, our community needs to understand that, hey, it doesn't matter how much economics I'm not getting in my community. I'm going to learn how to cut this grass. I'm going to learn how to trim these edges. I'm going to learn how to clean up my community. I can't stand walking through our community and it's so junky. It's so, just left it to be whatever. Like, the city don't come in and no, get them clampers and clean up your street.
That's right. You're right, Pastor. And you make I agree. You make a fine point, because this is what I'm talking about. When those police officers and a lot of white people, when they interact with black people, the first notion they got in their mind is that, do they care about each other? Why don't they care about their community? Yep. Why is it black on black crimes? Why is this? Well, first we talk about the economic structure. What's wrong with Rhode Island? We talk about the base.
Yeah.
Most important about why we don't have a whole Black Democratic Party. And it has to do with education. It has a lot to do with education. It has a lot to do with just tackling these issues that really, really matters to Black people. And there's none.
Now you're saying the Democratic Party. Let me ask you, have we held the Democratic Party accountable enough? I mean, do you feel like the Democratic Party has taken the Black agenda for granted and not really poured into what's going on today? Especially, now listen, Joe Biden still has my vote, but he said something because he's familiar. He says something because he's familiar. But at the end of the day, what we're asking from these candidates is a specific understanding of our culture, of our business, of our direction. But have we really held the Democratic Party accountable enough?
Let me just say this. Can I?
Yeah.
So let me just say this to me. This is, I don't have a plan. I just have a prejudgment in how I see things, where things are failing us tremendously. So for the past 40 to 50 years, the Democratic Party really, to my part, it really hasn't showed the Black agenda too much, right? They really haven't. So we have some laws in place from then until now, and again, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied whatsoever. But I lean mostly on the Democratic Party because of the history of our ancestral voting acts and voting rights. So we all go that way. 80% goes of people of color goes with the Democratic Party or the nominee or who is the nominee anyway. So we must structurally fix that in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So we have a huge problem with these guys not working together. The ministries not working together. This guy doesn't get along with this guy. So now you have a hub of people fighting amongst each other because this one don't like this one. And I hear it so much in Rhode Island. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So structurally, we're going to put together, our party and parties. So we could have our own boys club. We're not going to be tainted with anything of negative backlash from anyone. We're going to put together a group and we're going to move forward with it. So, like I said, the Democratic Party in the past, they really haven't been successful. And that's just a fact.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that America has taken the Black vote for granted. And I feel like it doesn't really matter which party we vote for. I think at the end of the day, whoever is in the best interest of social equity, economic equity is going to be where we lean at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Absolutely. So actions. Let's talk about actions. What actions does the Black community need to take to get to where we want to be?
I think that step by step is a plan, right? Because I think one of the action plans is it's really a blueprint from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X that you have to mix the two. There's no question. You have to mix the two. And I kind of lean on the both, right? For as far as the action part. And that is to get every person of color vote and put it in and start formulating again for their communities, for their future, for having a Black hub, for economic growth and stimulus, and being leaders and looking out for Black businesses such as REBA, the Black Business Association of Rhode Island. Listen, we have to pay attention to this. Lisa Rangling is, she's got my vote. We are partnering with them now. Black Lives Matter Rhode Island and the Black Business Association. We're getting together and we are partnering with them because that is the only strongest thing that we have in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think they need to recognize the fact that she's, been holding this down for That's really, a few other things of, that they have, the Black Heritage Society, but there's a few other groups, but nothing like they have a whole boys club out here and no one's invited. So it's time for us to separate the mindset of these old local leaders and come together and make things happen, because a lot of them are still stuck in their ways and we have to break the chain. And I'm here to say I'm going to challenge all of them and I'm going to put them out there, all of them. Anyone that's not talking about the Black Hub and the Black Business Association, I think they should be, they need to understand that they are part of any Black unity. They should be a part in making calls and trying to find out what's the solution to stop this madness.
Yeah.
We need to come together.
Yeah.
All Black leaders, all Black churches. I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unity will definitely make things go well. And I was saying earlier in the program, it's not hard for people to get involved. I go to a lot of community meetings and I just see the same people over and over.
Right.
And you might even see the same representative from the same church over and over.
Yep.
But every church, every community representative, every community individual is welcome to show up to a lot of these meetings, especially Black Lives Matter meetings, to address and to speak their voice. Not a lot of people take advantage of it. Yet we're seeing a lot of memes. We're seeing a lot of posts. Everybody's angry and they post how angry they are, but nobody's getting out the house to go to a meeting or to have a virtual meeting and to say, hey, what are we going to do with our part? What are we going to do with our block? What are we going to do with our community? How are we going to make that difference? And what I was telling somebody today, I said, listen, it's just a step-by-step process. You have to make the difference where you are. You have to show up where you are. And if you do that, people will recognize and you'll start to make a difference. I mean, just about a year ago, we had Boston Globe talk about the low level of violence in Providence, Rhode Island, just due to our community involvement. So again, it's about, even I worked with 67 Precinct Clergy Council in Brooklyn, New York. And I remember New York last year and a year before, they had at least 2 weekends where there were no murders,
none,
no homicides. All right. We've had several days in Providence, Rhode Island with no homicides, but it just takes people being consistent, showing up to the table consistently. Right. It's not about that one protest. It's about a continual protest. It's like, all right, I may not have my sign up today, but I'm showing up to speak my voice today. Right. And I'm being consistent in what I'm doing. I'm showing up consistently.
Yep. And that's the thing, Pastor. You're absolutely right. That, again, the Black education, we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. And it seems like we talk about the same thing over, where I watch and I'm so irritated about a lot of things, but I'm also positive at the same hands, because I have to understand what we up against, right? So we up against so many different elements that's just, it's against us, So I understand.
You need to answer the call and tell them to tune in.
Yes, absolutely. I just text them to tell them that. But, we have to change the dynamics.
Yeah.
And for Black men and Black women in Rhode Island. And I think, like you said, they need to get more involved. I think the ministry needs to step up to the plate. I think that, we have so many white brothers and sisters involved, but now we need for our Black brothers and sisters to get involved and show some strength of unity at this time, of mourning of, the brothers and sisters that we are losing out there at a high rate. And you talk about this. We predict all this stuff over and over and time again, and nothing's happening. So just because it doesn't happen in Rhode Island don't mean that they're not a part of that. They are a part of that because they have that blue blood. They have that brotherhood across this nation.
Absolutely. I want to ask you a question. I want to take us over to the Amy Cooper situation, happened in Central Park, New York. Mm-hmm. Now, when she got on the phone, automatically she runs to there's an African American man
Yeah.
threatening me. Now, has African American man become the new N word?
Well,
Is that been a trigger word these days?
I think you know that's a it could be. It could be. And I think it all depends on the individual.
right.
Because, I believe the new racism is to not acknowledge racism.
Right.
And so, words are just, if anything, symbolic. They don't really speak to the larger issue, the more substantive issue, which is institutional oppression and discrimination. So, I mean, if a phone call is made on an African American man, everybody knows how that's going to play out. It's a rerun.
Right.
And the person says, I'm being threatened. It doesn't really matter if she says African American, Black, N-word. It's just the culture. It's the culture that needs to be changed. And that's why when I first initially mentioned what I'm looking to do is to completely change the whole story, the whole narrative, because for so long we're being told who we are, what our value is, what our worth is. But fortunately for me, I know the truth. And we're just trying to share the truth because we're being bombarded by lies and falsehoods constantly.
And it's funny you said the N word, and has that become the new N word? We use these words to really dig deep, right? Because there's a history behind it.
Yeah.
So the history behind that word is so ravishingly very difficult to swallow to some. So, the Journal did a segment on me before a few years ago about the N word, and I said some harsh things, and I forgot that there was cameras around and people, and there was, I rephrased where the one kid called the other kid the N word, and I was there to witness, and these are two white kids calling them the N word. So I was like, I had to double look and say, oh, what'd you just say? So I got kind of stuck at that moment and said, listen, let me talk to you, please. I have to speak to you. That you should never use that word, because this lady, we seen that lady at Central Park. This is time and time again what they think about us. And they really have no clue about the value, how much value we have, so much life to give and so much we have done for this country. And, the list goes on and on and on.
Right.
We pay homage to America. We put America on our backs, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And the blood is on their hands now. So,
well, yeah, I think her problem was that it was authority of a black man speaking to her. Please put your leash on your dog. That was authoritative. I'm sure he didn't say it in a, man, if you don't, at first, I mean, you're asking a question, please put the leash on, but you're taking it as, oh man, he's being authoritative as he's speaking to me. I feel threatened. Like I said, Public Enemy came out with an album called Fear of a Black Planet.
That's right.
And when you have that fear of a black man telling you what to do, that could be another issue. Right. All right. So we have the Amy Coopers now. They got the Karens out there. We have now the George Floyd situation. How do we address this? How do we go forward from this? We're tired of seeing black men die at the hands of police. We're tired of seeing black men like Ahmaud die at the hands of an aggressive, evil-minded man with guns. We're tired of seeing this because of their narrative of us. But how do we address this now? We're not just Rhode Island, but how do people around the world address this so well that we start to reduce or minimize or eradicate what's going on between police and community?
You want to please? You want to go? You want me to?
Yeah. Well, it starts again with leadership, right? It goes back to how we see things. Because face it, black people are so compelled. We're so unique and special people. And I think really white America take us for granted because the history of generations speaks loudly for itself. And what happens is that you're going to have an angry black Americans today. And that means that the educated ones, the ones who have money, the ones who don't have money, they're going to change the dynamics of what they think about America because they are so angry and bitter right now. Because it's been boiling that they put these people in places to really harm us. And there's no excuse, there's no justification. That's lawless what they're doing. Lawless.
Absolutely. Mark, what do you have to say to that?
Lawlessness. I have to say that I also one of my methodologies is how to overcome possibility blindness. See, and what possibility blindness is, it's not being aware of the infinite possibilities that surround you solely because of the inability to see them.
Mm.
It doesn't mean they're not there.
Right.
There's infinite opportunities for every single person,
right,
regardless of who you are or your background. And it goes back to this one simple thing, because I don't want to be ambiguous or confusing to anybody. I want to make the message clear. Our messaging is clear, it's consistent, and it has to be in unison, coast to coast. Police reform. Police reform. Just because it hasn't been attempted, it hasn't been done, nobody thinks it's possible, nobody cares about it, doesn't mean we can't do it. We have to hold police accountable because they feel emboldened. They have a free pass. They don't even mind risking their future and their freedom in their life because they're so sure
they're
going to get away with it. Right, because, and this is the structure across America that black people we have to deal with. This is not about politics. This is not about, my religion against your religion. It has to do with the humanity of life.
Yeah.
And preserving human life. So whenever you have, that means that the structure of police departments around this country is bad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
When I look at a cop, I think to myself, it's either me or him. Right now, that's how I'm thinking.
Come on.
There's nothing in between that when I see a cop.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. But preserve life. That's me. And you're not going to take my life and, where I pay you, we pay taxes. I mean, listen, I'm in the United States. That's my governed right.
That's an instinct to preserve his life.
Right. So
God gave him that.
We could sit here and say what I'll do if I was in that situation and all of this stuff. But let me tell you something. I'm telling you right now to the world, when it comes to me or him, it's not going to be me. I'm fighting with my life. And it has nothing to do with violence and preaching violence. It has to do with, listen, you are to serve and protect. Nothing else.
Period.
That's what's up. Well, we're about to conclude in a little bit. We want to send our prayers over for the Floyd family, for the Arbery family, for Breonna Taylor family, for so many families that are being impacted lately by just senseless violence. We've got to stop it. We've got to address it.
Right.
If you want to address those in Minneapolis, here is Michael Freeman. He's the county district attorney. You might want to reach out to him. And not only do I'm glad the officers got fired. I'm glad they got fired, but they're still walking the streets.
Well, that's the
problem.
Right. And that's the catch-22. And they know that loophole. You see what I'm saying? That's their loophole. That's their escape. That's their get out of jail card free.
Yeah.
That's their card. So this has to change. The whole system is rigged.
Yeah.
It's rigged where this pertains to work around for black people and against for black people.
Yeah.
And we are the punching bags of America.
Yeah.
Police are the instrument of racism. That's why break it up, regulate it, deregulate it.
Change the laws.
Reform. We gotta bring it to the doors. That's it. We can't have a mixed message.
You got
police reform.
Right. You got all these politicians and no one's saying, listen, no one cares about black people. Listen, they don't care about black people like that. It's unfortunate. These people are, listen, look around us in Rhode Island. The blacks, they don't want to work with each other. They're so beat up. Naturally, we're beat up. You know, we're mentally, listen, look what's going on around the world. You know, get involved with Black Lives Matter. Get involved with REBA. Find out about the Black Association. Get involved what we're trying to do. Call Lisa Rangley. Let her know, like, you're interested in fighting this war on poverty, man.
Yeah.
You know, find out. This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're taking us out, and we take, you know, again, it's about
war.
you. This is war.
It's guerrilla warfare. They're picking us off in the streets. It's hit and run. This is what it is. They have brought war to us, whether we was ready or not.
That's right. So what I'm saying, you know, everybody has a voice. You can write Minneapolis 311 at minneapolismn.gov.
Yeah.
Right. Complain. Say, listen, we need to have them arrested. I mean, just like the two gentlemen in Georgia, it took them so long to get arrested. Why? Because the narrative wasn't told yet. Mm-hmm. But when we speak the narrative, we change history. All of a sudden, Amy Cooper is in Central Park.
Yeah.
It gets posted.
She got fired.
Somebody speaks the narrative. That's why, because somebody spoke the narrative.
Yeah. Right.
And so we've got our narrative to speak. We've African-American community has the narrative to speak. And the narrative. So we've narrowed it down. We've got to address poverty in our community. We've got to address education in our community. We've got to address police reform in our community. And so it also means that, you know, the African-American man that does become a police officer, he's representing two communities. I know that might be rough on him, but he does represent two. He represents the blue and the black.
Well, the blue right now is winning. And the blue is winning right now because they goes to show you across America that no one cares about black lives. Until we start caring about ourselves and caring about yours, then they're gonna never understand.
That's right.
And this is crazy. We pay them, and they're whipping our butts.
Yeah, this is my country.
Yeah,
I got more right than anybody, literally and figuratively.
That's right. So take the rights, take your voice.
That's right.
Please vote, everybody. Please get out and vote.
Culturally.
I mean, vote for the little votes, you know, not just the presidential votes. You know, we need senators, we need council people, we need Congress people, we need district people. I mean, even the people that don't get paid to do politics, but we still need them.
Right.
We need to know who's who. The people that vote the judges in. You know, a lot of time our black, you know, brothers and sisters are going before judges, but we have a power to put judges in and take judges out.
Well, we
need to know who our judges are.
Right. And we got to start putting our black votes where it matters at.
That's right.
So the most important thing to do is come together and understand the system, what we up against. Yeah. Understand it. Don't just, because locally, the locals here, they do this on a regular basis. They have their own boys club separate. They have to stop with this stuff. It has to stop, Pastor. So we want to structurally fix it and put it together.
I love my people. I love being black. You know, I can't say that I love being American. I don't know too many minorities that can, but we happen to live here. But we're going to make it right. We're going to fix it. We're going to work it. We've come this far. Mm-hmm. You haven't killed our spirit yet. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, the beautiful thing about being black in America is that most of us are mixed with so many other things. You know,
absolutely.
We got our Hispanic heritage, you know, we've got our white heritage, too. You know, I got it mixed in the Irish. I got it mixed in with European. I've got it all mixed in, you know, but, you know, we represent a community like, you know, it's just interesting. No matter where I am in this world, I could be down south. I just drove from down south. And you see a brother in the street, you know to give that nod, you know.
Nod.
What up? we all in this together. You understand that. We understand that language. So yeah, we're just asking people to, continue to get involved. Demand that, we have better policing. Demand that we have different kind of policing. And trust me, I've worked with different police departments. We have some great leaders in our police department, but we need more. And we need to continue to have a voice more. That means showing up. That means, hey, ask to do a ride along. If you're a community leader, do a ride along. See what they're experiencing. See what's going on from their side.
All of it.
I don't take for granted that a police officer is out there risking his life as well.
Absolutely. Not at all.
So, we understand that part, but what we're seeing in Minneapolis, what we're seeing in Central Park, what we're seeing in Georgia, it's just happening. It's just randomly happening on just different places of the world. So everybody around the world, we need your voice. We need you to get involved. We need you to make your neighborhood the best that it can be. Let your politics be the best that it can be wherever you are. It doesn't matter. You can make a difference wherever you are. And that's the message we want to get out there. Let's control the narrative. Let's take back the narrative. Not all black men that are being arrested for the right reasons. So we need to know that. We need to address that. And so, all right. So I'm going to show this here. Bernice Morris, contact. This is the contact. We want them. We want people to write Minneapolis, because guess what? That's how we make the difference. That is how we make the difference. We make the difference by, every letter we write, every note that we put down, everything that we share. Yes, social media is great, but we need to go beyond social media. We need to go beyond just speaking from our couch, speaking from our bedroom. We need to get out there, show up. Speak, get to know who your leaders are in your community. Who is your congressman? Who is your councilman? Who is your district leader? Who are the people in your neighborhood, right? That's the old famous song. Who are the people in your neighborhood? And once you get to know that, you get familiar, you can make that difference, because there's so many people that need to be on your shoulders and need to be lifted up and need to grow. So we're here with Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island, here with my brother Gary and also Mark Fisher. And this is a McGuire Entertainment Group production, The Anchored Voice, helping men to anchor life. Men, we want you to make a difference in this world. We want you to go out there and become the best and grow. Get involved in Black Lives Matter. It's not just about being angry, but guess what? Being black in America, is not that we got a chip on our shoulder, but we have somebody on our neck. And so we want to address those things and become better. We want to be able to breathe, everybody. We want to be able to breathe. That's what I want to do. I want to breathe.
Being black in America should not be a death sentence. That's right. And
this shouldn't be.
So this Saturday we have a peaceful rally downtown Providence at 12 o'clock at what's the name of that park?
It's Kennedy.
Yeah, across the street from Kennedy Plaza. And we're gonna be doing a peaceful protest there this Saturday at noontime. So come on out and just get a little vibe, man. We're gonna talk about all the killings and murders that have been happening. So this is our way of spreading the word. Get in the fight.
That's right.
Get in the fight.
That's it, man. Thank you, everybody. All right, we have also. Is it Burnside Park too?
Yeah.
Is that what it would be? All right, Burnside Park.
Yeah.
All right.
Burnside Park.
Wow. Man, this is great. Brothers, thank you so much for being on this program. And we appreciate all that you bring to the table and all that you're doing. We pray that your voice will become stronger and stronger each time. Let's get that police reform in. Let's get out of possibility blindness.
Yeah.
Let's continue to address, we need to be able to breathe. Let's breathe, everybody.
And thank you for the word, Pastor. We appreciate you too, brother.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
We wanted to have you there. So we love you.
Man, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep addressing it. We're gonna keep speaking to it.
Tell the people what your entitlement.
Well, I have a bachelor's in pastoral ministry and biblical studies from North Point Bible College.
Nice.
Working on my master's.
Okay.
Preaching.
All right.
So we're gonna have a preacher, pastor.
We got a preacher. That's what I'm talking about.
We have a preacher off and hit him in the head. They ain't gonna know what hit him.
Oh man, we're gonna have Pastor Fisher. I love it. I love it, man. That's what I'm talking about.
So that's why we had to reboot Black Lives Matter, and and just really understand that it's about unity, man.
Yeah.
And community. It's about structurally making sure that we preserve life for the young Black and brown people in our communities, right? Because if we don't, they're not going to know the way.
That's right. That's right.
Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island. Thank you for listening. Appreciate all yous, and let's make some change in our communities, man.
That's right. Let's do it, everybody. This is the Anchored Voice, helping men to anchor life. Thank you for listening to the Anchored Voice. For the video edition of this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, McGuire ENTV. For audio, listen on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Stitcher. Until next time, stay anchored.